The Galactic Council had existed for 17,000 years. Its members included over 400 species from across the known universe. They had mapped billions of star systems. They had cataloged trillions of life forms. They had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. In all that time, they had encountered only one species that made them feel genuine fear: the Terrans. Ambassador Vexnar stood before the massive holographic display in the Council's great chamber. His three eyes studied the small blue planet rotating slowly in the center of the room. Earth. Such an ordinary name for such an extraordinary threat. He turned to face the assembled representatives from hundreds of worlds. "The monitoring stations confirm it," Vexnar announced. "The Terran species remains in their self-imposed slumber. Their civilization continues to sleep beneath the surface of their world. The containment protocols are holding." A ripple of relief passed through the chamber. Beings of every shape and size exchanged glances of comfort. The nightmare was still contained. High Counselor Threnea, an ancient being of pure crystalline energy, spoke from her elevated platform. "For 3,000 years, we have maintained the quarantine around the Sol system. For 3,000 years, we have kept the Terrans isolated. This must never change." The younger delegates shifted uncomfortably. Many of them had never witnessed the Terran Wars. They only knew the stories. Stories that seemed impossible. Stories that kept the older members awake in their rest cycles. "Surely we exaggerate the threat," said Commander Brix of the Valorian Empire. He was a large creature, covered in thick armor plating. His species had conquered 30 systems. They feared nothing. One small species on one small planet. How dangerous could they possibly be? The chamber fell silent. Even the ambient hum of the life support systems seemed to quiet. Vexinar's scales changed color, a sign of deep distress among his kind. "You are young, Commander. You did not witness what they did to the Krellan Dominion." "The Krellans conquered half the galaxy," Brix said dismissively. "They were the most powerful military force in recorded history." "They were," Vexnar agreed, "until they made the mistake of attacking Earth." The old ambassador activated another display. Images appeared in the air. Ships burning, planets cracking apart, entire fleets disappearing in flashes of light. "The Krellans sent 40,000 warships to Earth," Vexnar continued. "They bombarded the planet for 6 standard months. They believed they had exterminated the Terrans. They were wrong." Commander Brix watched the images with growing unease. The Terrans had retreated underground. They had been sleeping, waiting, and when they finally emerged, Vexnar paused. They did not just defeat the Krellans. They erased them. Every ship, every colony, every last member of their species, gone. In less than 2 standard years. "Impossible," Brix whispered. "I watched it happen," said High Counselor Threnea, her crystalline form pulsing with old memories. "I was young then. I served on a diplomatic vessel at the edge of Krellan space. I saw the Terran fleet arrive. Ships that seemed to bend reality itself. Weapons that consumed stars. Soldiers who refused to die." She drifted closer to the display of Earth. "The Terrans are not like us. They do not think like us. They do not fight like us. When threatened, they do not seek peace. They do not negotiate. They destroy. Completely, utterly, without mercy." "Then, why do we not destroy them first?" Brix demanded. "While they sleep." The reaction was immediate. Delegates scrambled backward. Some fled the chamber entirely. Vexnar looked at the commander as if he had suggested swimming in a black hole. "Destroy them?" Vexnar laughed bitterly. "Commander, we tried. After the Krellan genocide, the Council gathered every ship from every member species. Over 2 million vessels. The largest fleet ever assembled. We bombarded Earth until its surface turned to glass. And they survived. Beneath the glass, beneath the stone, beneath the fire, they always survive. And they remember." The chamber fell into troubled silence once more. The Terrans offered us a bargain, Trinia explained. They were tired of war. They wished to sleep again. They gave us one chance. Leave them alone. Maintain the quarantine. Let them rest. And in return, they would not hunt us to extinction. We have honored that bargain for 3,000 years, Vexnar added. And we will continue to honor it, because the alternative is unthinkable. Commander Brix straightened his armored form. Pride and stubbornness burned in his eyes. The Valorian Empire does not cower before anyone. We have weapons the Terrans have never seen, technology they cannot imagine. I propose we send a small expedition to assess their current capabilities. Surely after 3,000 years of sleep, they have weakened. No, said every voice in the chamber simultaneously. But Brix was not listening. He was already planning. 6 standard months later, Commander Brix stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Unconquerable Flame. Behind him floated a fleet of 500 Valorian warships, the finest vessels his empire had ever built. Enough firepower to crack a dozen planets. Before him hung the small blue world called Earth. Scanners show minimal activity on the surface. His tactical officer reported. The Terran structures remain dormant. No energy signatures. No movement. Brix smiled. Just as I suspected. They have slumbered too long. They have forgotten how to fight. Begin the bombardment. Commander, his communications officer interrupted. We are receiving a transmission from the planet. From the planet? But it is supposed to be dormant. The message is on repeat, sir. It appears to be a warning. Brix laughed. Put it through. A voice filled the bridge. It was calm, quiet, almost gentle. But something in its tone made every Valorian's blood run cold. This is Terran Defensive Array 7. You have entered restricted space. You have 30 standard minutes to withdraw. This is your only warning. There will be no negotiation. There will be no second chance. Leave now, or face the consequences. Brix's smile faltered for just a moment. Then his pride reasserted itself. Ignore the recording. Continue the bombardment. The Valorian ships opened fire. Thousands of plasma beams and nuclear missiles streaked toward the blue planet below. The attacks struck the surface with devastating force. Continents burned. Oceans boiled. The planet's crust cracked and shattered. And then the planet fought back. It started with light. A single beam of energy shot up from the surface. It struck the nearest Valorian ship, and the vessel simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not damaged, gone, as if it had never been. More beams followed, then more, then hundreds, then thousands. What is happening? Brix screamed. Return fire! Return fire! But his ships were disappearing too quickly. For every shot they fired, a dozen were erased from existence. The void of space filled with the silent screams of dying vessels. Then the real attack began. Ships rose from Earth's surface. Not thousands, not tens of thousands, millions. Sleek black vessels that seemed to absorb light itself. They moved with impossible speed, dancing between the Valorian formations like predators among prey. Brix watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart. His tactical displays went dark one by one. His communications filled with the screams of his soldiers. Full retreat. He ordered, jump to hyperspace. Everyone jump now. But the Terran ships were faster. They surrounded the Valorian fleet. They blocked every escape route. They were not fighting. They were hunting. On the bridge of the Unconquerable Flame, Commander Brix found himself alone. His crew had vanished, teleported away by unknown technology. He stood in silence, watching his empire's greatest fleet reduced to floating debris. A door opened behind him. Brix spun around. A Terran stood in the doorway. It was smaller than him, fragile-looking, but its eyes held something that made Brix's armored legs buckle. You were warned, the Terran said. Its voice was the same one from the recording. Calm, quiet, Terrible. Your council begged you not to come. Your own elders told you what would happen, and still you came. Please, Brix whispered. The word tasted like ash in his mouth. I did not know. I did not understand. No, the Terran agreed. You did not. None of you ever do. It stepped closer. Behind it, more Terrans entered the bridge. Hundreds of them, thousands, pouring through doors and walls as if solid matter meant nothing. We were happy to sleep, the first Terran continued. We were tired. We had seen too much war, caused too much destruction. We wanted peace. We wanted to dream of better things. We gave your galaxy 3,000 years of quiet. 3,000 years without fear. It stopped directly in front of Brix. And now you have woken us. Again. Do you understand what that means? Brix tried to speak. No words came. It means we remember why we fight. It means we remember what we are. It means we will not sleep again until every threat is eliminated. Completely. Utterly. Without mercy. Back in the Council's great chamber, Ambassador Vexenar received the transmission. His scales went white with terror. Around him, delegates wept and screamed and prayed to gods they had forgotten. The message was simple. Just 3 words. We are awake. Within 1 standard year, the Valorian Empire ceased to exist. Every ship, every colony, every citizen, gone. Erased from the universe as if they had never been. Their homeworld was cracked into 1 billion pieces and scattered across the void. But the Terrans did not stop there. They had been woken. They had been attacked. And they remembered every species that had ever threatened them. Every world that had ever raised weapons against them. Every being that ever wished them harm. The great fleets of humanity spread across the galaxy like a shadow. They did not conquer. They did not negotiate. They simply removed threats, one by one, system by system, species by species. The Galactic Council dissolved within the first month. Its members fled to the farthest corners of existence. They hid in nebulae and asteroid fields and the spaces between dimensions. They prayed for invisibility. Some were found anyway. Ambassador Vexenar was one of the last. He had served the quarantine faithfully. He had begged Brix not to go. He had done everything right. But when the Terran vessel appeared in his system, he felt no hope. He sent one final message to any who might receive it. Let this be our legacy. Let this be the lesson we leave for any civilizations that come after. If you encounter the Terran species, if you find their world, if you detect their presence anywhere in the universe, do not engage. Do not threaten. Do not attack. Let them slumber. Let them dream. Let them sleep forever. Because when humanity wakes, the universe burns. The message ended. Vexenar closed his eyes. And somewhere in the void, the Terran fleet continued its eternal vigil, waiting for the next fool who would disturb their sleep.